if somebody's planning a nice picnic and I told them it was going to be sunny and it rains, and they're going to kid around with me a little bit. They're going to be maybe a little bit upset that day, but it slides by very quickly.
Gasthaus with your host, specialist Charlie Gill.
Hello everyone, welcome into the Gasthaus. You know, everybody complains about the weather, but no one does anything about it. Tonight we'll talk with two folks whose job it is to keep us informed about what we like to complain about, the weather. First, a familiar face, Staff Sergeant Chuck Grubb of the 7th Weather Squadron and AFN's very own forecaster, and a new member of the AFN team, Staff Sergeant Sue Easterwood, who is also with the 7th Weather Squadron. Both of you welcome into the Gasthaus today.
Thanks, Charlie.
Glad to have you. Of course, I see you quite often, Chuck, so it's good you stopped in today. Sue, you've just arrived. What was your last assignment? What were you doing?
Well, I came from McConnell Air Force Base in Kansas, and I was a counter forecaster there, briefing pilots and air crews.
I see. The weather that you had in Kansas compared to the weather that you've seen thus far in Germany, can you make it some kind of a comparison?
Big difference. There is a big difference. It was in the 80s and 90s in the States, you know, always sunny. It was really nice beach weather. Over here, first thing I did, no coat. It was raining, cold. So you just have to get used to it.
Sounds like you got quite a challenge on your hand. I haven't gotten used to it yet, but I think it's just a matter of time. Chuck, on the other hand, as Sue's coming in, you're getting ready to take off. Where are you going to?
I'll be heading to Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska at SAC headquarters, and I'll be working the counter forecasting duties at Offutt. I'll be basically supporting the SAC Airborne Command Post, briefing the refueling planes, the 135s, and as Sue said, it's when a plane goes on a mission, we let them know what their destination weather will be, what it's like when they get there, and if they'll encounter any hazards along the way.
No more television?
No more television, maybe getting some part-time job at a local Omaha TV station.
Yeah. How do you feel about that, stepping away from the camera?
It's going to be a different challenge again. I was briefing air crews at Rhine Mine, and I stepped into the AFN television job, and now going back again, it's going to be a little bit, it's going to be a change, definite change. Stepping from one medium into another is going to be difficult, but I'm looking forward to the challenge again, and the rapport that I get with the pilots really makes the briefings worthwhile.
Now, this question is directed at both of you. A lot of times, the people who are sitting out in the audience, they'll see you on television and say, well, what he's doing is he's picking up the paper in the morning and he's reading the weather forecast, and that's what he's doing. But it really goes far beyond that, doesn't it?
You know, it's good that you bring that up, because that is a misconception that many people have, is that we're just there to read the forecast, and that's just not true. What we do is we actually go into our weather station at Detachment 8, 7th Weather Squadron in Frankfurt here, and we have maps and we have teletype, and we prepare our own forecasts. So basically, whether we're right or wrong, it's our fault, and either we're going to take the glory or we're going to take the booze.
Yeah. Right. We'll talk a little bit about some of the negative parts of that in just a second. Sue, but wouldn't it be easier, really? There are many agencies that publish and commercialize their forecast for the day. Wouldn't it be just kind of easy to say, well, they all say it's going to be this, so I'm going to sort of agree with that? Isn't that an easy way to do it?
Now, it would be easier, except we have to explain it to our boss. We have to explain the weather to our boss every day, and it's just as easy to find an excuse or find a reason for your own forecast versus finding a reason for someone else's. So we have to verify, we have to do our own forecasting and explain it.
Chuck, let me ask you, as you certainly review forecasts that are made by other sources throughout, have you ever really kind of stuck your neck out and said, I think it's going to be a little bit different?
Well, there has been times when we do get forecast discussions, forecast reasoning from other agencies, and using that combined with what our knowledge is and teletype data and maps, as we mentioned earlier, we prepare our forecast. And yes, we have come up with major differences. And what we usually do then is we coordinate with those other agencies and ask them, well, why are you forecasting this? And this is why we're forecasting that. And then we try to come up with a combined forecast that satisfies both parties.
Awesome. So you don't do any freelancing then?
Well, we try not to because one of us is going to be right and one of us is going to be wrong. We don't want to make each other look bad.
Got to ask you how you feel. You run into many people throughout the day who know who you are, because obviously because of the exposure. You've predicted sunny skies for a weekend, and it may in fact rain. What's the rationale behind what people say to you, and what do they say to you?
You know, what's really nice is weather is something to joke about. A lot of people take it seriously, and it is very important, especially on weekends if folks have plans. But occasionally we're not going to be 100% right all the time. And when we do make an error, we like to admit it. And, you know, of course, nobody's perfect, especially in the weather business. And folks take it good-naturedly, too. If somebody's planning a nice picnic and I told them it was going to be sunny and it rains, and they're going to kid around with me a little bit. They're going to be maybe a little bit upset that day, but it slides by very quickly.
How much do you count on your own forecasts?
When I come on a forecast on television, I'm very confident in it, and I believe, I have to believe it in order to present it to the people on television and make them believe me. And our accuracy rate, again, is not 100%, but we're doing pretty good. And as long as I can have the people believe that, then I feel good about it. Let's
talk a little bit about percentages. Sue, if you picked a magic number out there, the percentages you'd like to hit as far as accurate forecasts, what would it be?
Well, my number would be 85%. That's about as good as you can get, 85%. And I would like to be the best forecaster that I can be.
I see. Do you think it's especially difficult, though, to be able to forecast weather here in Europe, especially Germany?
In Germany, it is very difficult because there are things here that don't apply in the States. They teach you, they gear you towards thinking the States is weather forecasting. Then when you come to Europe, a lot of the rules don't work. And there are many parameters that you have to get used to, and just experience helps you out there.
Sounds like a real good training ground. We're out of time, Chuck. Good luck at your next assignment. Thanks for stopping in today.
Thanks, Charlie.
Sue, welcome. We'll be seeing each other here for quite a while. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tomorrow night we discuss keeping your ID card secure. Join us in the Gasthaus.